Do you know what time it is?
What time is it?
It's podcast time. Yeah, dig it? The Dynasty Podcast is brought to you by Jube's Family Restaurant. Family owned and operated since 2002. Jube's Family Restaurant's gourmet pizza and fresh food seafood is better than dirty, dirty sex. Get your ass to Jube's Family Restaurant and don't forget to tip your fucking waitress.
It's time to play the music. It's time to light the lights. It's time to meet the assholes on the Dynasty tonight. That's right. It's time to put on makeup. It's time to dress up right. It's time to raise the curtain on the Dynasty tonight. Why do we always come here? I guess we'll never know. It's like some kind of torture to have to watch the show. And now let's get things started. Why don't you get things started? It's time to get things started on the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, sexuational. This is what we call the Dynasty Podcast.
Greetings and salutations. You have entered episode number 11 of the incredible, the stupendous, the brilliant, the Dynasty Podcast. Brought to you by the most tasty restaurant since Brian's Restaurant, the one, the only, Jube's Family Restaurant. This is Commissioner Eric Costanza, who is obviously broadcasting from the Tom Berkowitz Trucking Riverdale Studios, and sitting to my left, with a smile, a snipped knee, and an erection, is my trusty co-host, Bubba Palucha. Now, Bub, we already know what the erection is about. We'll get into that a little bit later, but what the
I just came from Lisa's house.
Oh, that really just did put a little damper on things, didn't it? Anywho, tell us what happened to your knee, Bubba.
Bernard Pollard came at me at Halloween, and he just snipped it.
Fucking Bernard Pollard, huh?
Yeah, I was out of nowhere. I was trick-or-treating. I was dressed as a pumpkin, obviously.
I figured you would have been dressed as Ren Geyer.
Oh, no, that's what I dress up normally at home.
Right,
so I needed to change it up.
Right.
So then this kid wearing a Bernard Pollard jersey just came at me and went low. He went low.
Yeah, you're on crutches
that was
and everything.
It.
You got a brace.
Not fun.
Yeah, well, I hope you're okay, Bob.
Thanks.
Anywho, so back to the erection, which is, I can't not notice it, obviously, here. It's staring me
so
directly in the face.
Hey, everyone, come see how big I am.
Seems as if it has eyes. We're in store for a very sexual episode here, which is most definitely going to be rated R, as usual. Maybe even possibly rated X. So put the women and children to bed. You know, this is for the men only here. Bust out the moisturizer and Kleenexes and enjoy yourself, because later on the show, we're going to go ahead and have the sexy Bree Olson on our interactive segment. Yes. Bub, a couple fun facts here regarding Bree.
Hit me with them.
Number one, she's a vegan. Did you know that?
I did not. That makes her even sexier.
Although I have heard she does enjoy certain portions of meat, such as sausages. And other.
How can she be a vegan then if she eats sausages? Isn't that a meat?
I'm talking about Dick's, Bub. You didn't get that?
Dick's sausages.
Yeah,
I heard they have good sausages at Dick's.
She's quite the dick sucker, let me tell you. Not that I know from personal experience.
No?
Although Veronica Vaughn I know from... She's a fine piece of arse.
No, you don't.
I don't. A friend I know, though. No? Okay. Number two, she's actually in the top 5 richest current or former porn stars of all time. She makes over $5 million a year.
Wow.
This Bree Olson.
Wow.
Can you believe that, Bubba? I mean, this is big for us. This is as big as her tits.
She gonna throw us any money so we can update the Riverdale Studios? Tom Berkowitz Trucking Riverdale Studios?
What's wrong with our studios, Bubba? I'm offended right now.
Nothing. I just
look at all this stuff. I do have to upgrade the Red Sox 2013.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Oh, that's what you meant. Okay. Yeah. And out of curiosity, I sent out some homework for all of our league members to kind of take a look at, just to kind of refresh yourself of some of Bree's work. Did you happen to take a look at that?
Yeah. My Block 5 class didn't really appreciate it, though.
Oh, I figured they would.
No.
Another little fun fact about Bree Olson is she dated Charlie Sheen, who, of course, is the star of Major League 2.
I prefer to say star of Major League One.
Well, first of all, it would be Major League, not Major League One. And a lot of people do enjoy the Ridge. I personally like the second one better. But either or, Bob, either or. She is one fine piece of art. She dated Charlie Sheen during like that whole time in which Sheen was on the forefront of the media with the craziness going on and the winning.
He just went like off the deep end.
Yeah, the winning speech and all that. So, but I do want to take a step back and announce some wonderful news. I'm sure we're all fully aware of this already. And Bob, last week you mentioned that you don't watch The Walking Dead, and to be honest with you, my respect level for you went down a couple notches because of that. Have you ever seen the movie Outbreak?
I haven't even heard of the movie Outbreak.
Fuck you. Okay, we're a couple years off age-wise, so maybe it's a generation thing, but as a lot of our listeners are already fully aware, Outbreak is one of the greatest films of all time. Definitely the best epidemic movie of all time. And it starred Dustin Hoffman and Kevin Spacey. Cuba Gooding Jr. Bubba was in it. Goddamn Donald Sutherland was in it. Goddamn Morgan Freeman. Wait, was Morgan Freeman in it? Yeah, Morgan Freeman was in it.
I haven't seen it, remember?
Yeah, he was in it. Incredible cast. Anyway, NBC has actually piloted. There's going to be actually, I'll read to you this press release here. It says NBC has given a pilot production commitment to TV version of the 1995 pandemic movie Outbreak. It goes on to say that the movie follows the effects of an outbreak of an Ebola-like virus, otherwise known as Motaba, of an outbreak of people, I read that line already, people infected and the various CDC officials who are responsible for controlling the spread of the virus. It goes on and on. Anyway, we're all very excited to hear this. Basically, in layman's terms, NBC is going to be creating a TV show of the movie The Outbreak. It's going to be coming out soon. I'm sure we've already set our DVRs, but I'm very excited about this. I'm sure you're going to be getting excited. You don't look excited at all.
I'm so excited.
You don't look excited at all.
Oh, no, I'm containing it on the inside.
All right. Well, I feel like I need to spread the word. I feel like we need to do a public service announcement. Bubba, I want you to go ahead and give me a phone number. This is completely random. I would like to call a citizen. I would like to do my diligence in spreading the word. It looks like you're shaking your head, Bub. What's the matter?
Nothing. No.
Are you sure?
I
know you have an erection, but what's the what?
No. Hit me. What do we got to do?
Give me a phone number. I don't know if you want to give me like a 234 on Newell Bridge or maybe purposely out of this town just in case we happen to get somebody that we know. But just give me a phone number. I'm going to spread the wonderful word of this great news that the outbreak is coming.
508.
508.
278.
278.
Going Uxbridge.
We're going Uxbridge, bitches.
Let's see. 3367.
3367. Okay, here we go. The number has been dialed. Let's see if we get a nice pedestrian on the line. I feel as if this is my duty. We can spread the love, spread the word.
Hello?
Yes, hello. This is Commissioner Eric Costanza calling from the Dynasty Podcast, and I would like to congratulate you because I am calling to simply give you some public service information. May I have your first name, please, kind sir?
Let me go take a shit first, and I'll come talk to you. I'll be right back.
Oh, sure thing. Listeners, he's actually needing to take a shit first, then he's going to come back and talk to us. So I'm not sure how long this shit will last. I'm not sure how long we want to stay on the line here, Bub, but we're going to keep recording. You know what? Why don't we just continue on with the show, Bub, and while we wait for this individual to take a shit.
Sounds good.
Okay. Well, on this show, we're going to review Week 9. We're going to break down Week 10. We're going to go ahead and welcome Coach Brian Tavaleri of Soul Glo, Bubba. And he's going to be on the coach's interview. Maybe he'll be taking a shit too. Maybe is this a universal shit time here that's going on?
I'm not pooping yet.
I'm not either. It's about 5:40 p.m. Eastern time. Anywho, Bub, thanks to and of course, obviously on the interactive segment as we talked about earlier, we're going to have Bree Olson, which I can't wait for.
Smoke show.
I can't wait. And thanks to Al Gore's internet creation back in 1994. Would you agree that fantasy football and porn are the two things that really benefited the most? I mean, what's really come out of the internet more successful than porn and fantasy football? Right?
Nothing. we don't have to use maps anymore. We all have GPSs
Maps,
on our phones, internet.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, that's up there. I don't know if it is.
No, it's not.
It's
top
not.
two.
It's not top
Not
two.
top two.
Well, we're gonna combine both worlds. We're gonna combine fantasy football and porn. It's gonna be great stuff. I feel as if the citizen on the line is obviously still in the midst of a shit. Excuse me, citizen. Are you still on the line? Are you there, sir? Okay.
He sounds like he is.
He sounds like he's there. He hasn't hung up. I can tell you that much. Too bad. Maybe we'll call somebody else later. Unfortunately, we weren't able to spread the word of the outbreak, Bubba, but we're in store for a hell of a show anyway, right?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Now let's take a look into last week's results. Who kicked some ass? Who sucked?
All right, Bub. So what was your overall take on Week 9 of the Dynasty?
Oh, points for days. There's a lot of points scored.
Right.
A lot of touchdowns.
Yeah, let's go ahead and break it down, shall we?
Yeah. So
the game of the week, the Rockdalian Senators defeating the Boston Loggers, a score of 186 to 72. Bub, you broke down that 186 gloriously in your Power Rankings article. Thank you. That was great. Will is in quite a role. I think Jay Young was the first a few weeks ago to say that he thought he had the best team on paper. I agree with him, Bub. You didn't. I don't know if you have changed your ways now about Will. And we talked a little bit about Whiffen and the perception of his team possibly changing. Do you think Will's team's perception has changed at all, or do you still think it has not?
Well, I will say that I did predict him to win the whole thing this year. But
True.
Yeah, with Whiffen, with Martin injured and Spiller not playing. Granted, Spiller played pretty well last week. His running back situation is a little dire. So yeah, I think Will on paper looks better at this point than Whiffen.
Well, he led the league in points now for the fourth time, three times in a row. And the 186 points is the most points that the Rockdalian Senators has ever scored in its existence. The Senator fan base is going nuts. They're obviously very happy that Will decided to stay in Rockdale. He almost left there, which would have been bullshit. And the 186 points is actually tied for the second most of all time for points scored in 1 week, tied with Brutal Deluxe. Obviously, we know, Bub, you have the record at 201.
Hell yeah. Never going to be broken.
So just impressive things going on there with the Senators. The next game was the Pig Newtons narrowly defeating the Rapists, 95-94. Phil goes up to a very impressive 7-2 record, while John falls to 5-4. And I was actually with John when he made the decision to start Arian Foster over Donald Brown, which I would have done the same thing. And I thought it was actually a smart thing for him to do that, for him to get Brown, who also had that Sunday night game, and then if Foster plays, you play him. If he doesn't, then you got Brown to plug in. And I would have done the same thing. Foster played, and then he got hurt in the first series, and then Foster gets 0. Donald Brown gets a standard 3 to 4 points, which would have made the difference. It's just a tough pill to swallow, Bub. And then Phil, kind of a funny situation which occurred with his quarterback. He's been pretty much plugging in, as he told us back a few weeks ago, plugging in whatever Philadelphia Eagles quarterback was starting between Vic and Foles pretty much all year. And then finally this week he said, okay, enough is enough. And he went with Terrell Pryor. He dropped Foles. You picked him up, Bob.
Yeah, I did. How'd that work out,
and,
Phil? Suck on these nuts!
Nick Foles goes off for 59 fantasy points. 1 point off from the record of all-time points scored ever by any player, which happened earlier this year with Peyton Manning. The second most fantasy points scored by any player ever, with Nick Foles' 59 points. Just crazy, although Phil can't really, obviously, complain too much, obviously, about, bad luck or not getting the breaks, obviously, considering the fact he keeps winning with not a lot of point production. If I had a nickel for however many times you've said Phil's team is terrible. Actually, going back to last year, I
have about $1.20.
I would say about $2.50. I could probably almost buy a Big Mac at McDonald's, Bob. Something kind of funny as well was I was looking at some of the points scored, and Handy Quacks, who was 1-8, right? Is it 1-8? Yeah, he's 1-8.
Yes.
Obviously, he's one of the worst teams in the league, which is crazy to think about considering where we thought he would be at this point. But regardless, he is where he is now. I think Bill Parcells once said, "You are what your record says you are." Right? Is that what he said?
We are who they thought they were.
No, that was
Dennis Green.
Right. Handy Quacks has scored 15 less points than Phil.
Wow.
15.
Wow.
So Phil, who's at 7-2, and Zach is at 1-8. But they're fifth. That's like 1.5 to 2 points per game thus far.
What's that? 9 games?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
About that. 1.8.
1.6.
1.6. That's crazy, isn't it? Crazy.
That's crazy.
So Phil doesn't need to. He's going to need to address probably his quarterback situation, I would think, right?
You
Bob?
would think, and that's what I've said all along. His
Right.
quarterback sucks. His team sucks.
Well, speaking of that, looks like
There's 10 more cents.
we got ourselves an update.
Stop everything. Seek shelter. Run for the hills. We have ourselves breaking news from the world of the Dynasty.
We have a trade involving the Pig Newtons and yourself, Commissioner Scooper.
Yeah.
The Pig Newtons. Oh, you seem a little upset.
Well, I'll let you announce it.
Okay. The Pig Newtons are receiving Andrew Luck, your backup Oh, wait a minute. He was your backup quarterback. And you are receiving an 8th round pick from Phil. So 2 things to take away from this real quick, if I may say this before you explode.
Yeah.
Phil is not known to trade draft picks. So good for you, Phil, for getting on the wagon. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Aaron Rodgers got hurt last night, or Monday night. And so now you don't have a quarterback. Is that right? It sounds right. It sounds like I'm right.
So I've been trying to shop Luck for a while since I got Rodgers. Since Rodgers already had his bye, I would never start Luck over Rodgers. I obviously was higher on Luck than most at the draft, and I was wrong with how high I thought he would be. But he's still pretty good. Still a top 10 quarterback in this league. Finally, swung a deal with Phil. I think it was on Sunday night when we made this trade for an 8th round pick. He needed a quarterback. I don't need him, so I would really only be having him just in case of injury. And what the fuck happens? Rodgers gets hurt, snips his collarbone while the trade was still being reviewed. And I actually I'm going to be honest, I went to Phil and I said, hey, coach to coach, GM to GM, we're friendly GMs. We're kind of like Ben Sherrington and Theo Epstein, if you will. We're kind of like Thomas Dimitroff and Bill Belichick. We're kind of, we like to help each other out if you can. As many relationships are on the league. Like, I asked, hey, listen, you don't have to, but I know we have a rule in place with this, but any way you might be kind enough to cancel out of this trade. Obviously, the spirit of the rule was because I thought Luck was or Rodgers would be healthy, and obviously that didn't occur. Phil politely did decline and say he had to help out his own team, and denied my request. Which that it is what it is. I can't complain. It's a rule.
It's a tough pill.
It's a tough pill to swallow. It is a little weaselly, I'm gonna say. It is a little weasel.
I don't think
I was called a weasel.
I think it's unlucky.
I was called a weasel when I did it, and that's why.
For who?
Back in the Boogeymen days.
That doesn't count.
Why does it not count?
Because
it's the
the
same
Boogeyman.
goddamn thing happened. I don't know. I think it's a little.
I think it's unlucky. I don't think it's weird. I think it's unlucky.
Yeah, I think it depends on who the coach is involved, and if it's involving me, then it's weaselly. That's what usually tends to happen here.
Well, I'm not calling it weaselly. I'm calling it unlucky.
Because I'm not the one who is on the other side.
I see. I see.
If I'm on that side, Anyway, we have a second trade to announce, Bob. It is involving the aforementioned Rockdalian Senators. The son of a bitch has obtained A.J. Green.
A.J. Green Beans, we like to call him.
From the Boston Loggers for a 2nd round pick. Bob, what do you think?
Well, it certainly makes his team better. I personally, I feel like he didn't even need to. I mean, what is he giving up this?
We're going to get Coach Ben Green on the line, Bob.
Okay, yeah, just cut me off. That's cool.
I wanted you to keep going.
No, I don't want to.
All right, I apologize. It was bad timing. I wasn't trying to offend you there. I'm just curious if Ben is a seller now. I mean, he's one game out of first place. He's one game out of first place.
Yeah, I think
he sees the light at the end
horizon,
of the tunnel,
yeah.
and there's a shut door, and you can't get to the light.
Yeah.
Does doesn't appear as if Coach Ben Green is available, anywho, so it doesn't matter that I've possibly... Oh.
Hello?
Yes, Coach Ben Green?
Yes.
Hello, this is Commissioner Eric Costanza calling. How are you today?
Hello, Eric. How you doing?
I apologize for calling you without notice. Bubba is with me as well. We're actually in the midst of the Dynasty Podcast here, and
Oh, excellent.
yes, a quick question for you. We don't have a lot of time here, but we just announced the trade that you made involving A.J. Green. You're sending him over to the Senators for a second-round pick.
That is correct.
We're just curious. You're a game out of first place, although as we were just talking about, there are a bunch of teams in front of you. Are you now kind of thinking you're out of it, or what are you thinking here?
I am thinking I'm out of it.
Okay.
I mean, even with A.J. Green, I scored, 72 points last week, and it's just not working out. So there's a lot of teams ahead of me, and I'm kind of thinking ahead to next year.
Okay, well, fair enough. It sounds like you're is essentially almost your whole team available for via trade if the price is right.
For the price is right, yes, I would say so.
All right, Ben. Well, thank you very much. You heard it here first, folks. Coach Ben Green is thinking that he is out of the race here in the Dynasty 10, brought to you by Jubes. Bub, do you agree?
Yeah, I think those three in front of him, and even that, there's four teams in the South, all ahead of him. So he really has 7 teams, ahead of him, and I think he'd have a tough time making the playoffs.
All right. Well, I actually disagree. I think that if you're in it at this point in the year, anything can happen.
Well, obviously,
some of these teams are going to be beating up on each other, right? I'm playing John this week. One of us is going to lose.
There are some good matchups this week.
We'll get into that, Bob. But there are a bunch of good matchups. Anyway, I certainly understand. I don't think it's ridiculous. Maybe it's just my coaching strategy. As you know, I always try to stay competitive each and every year.
How's that worked out for you?
Horrific. Well, it depends on how
many championships you have?
There you go. That's the question you want to ask, and horrific. The next game, let's move forward here. Those are all the trades that have occurred thus far here. The Yellow Peril defeated the Riverdale Scoopers with a score of 157-74. Yellow Peril has been averaging about 85 to 93 points for the past month, but this week, Yellow Peril scored 157 points. Bob?
Good news.
Yeah.
If it makes it feel a silver lining,
yes,
he still would have beat you if he averaged 85. If he got 85 points,
that does make me feel better. Thank you, Bob.
Yeah.
I dropped down to 5-4, still in a 3-way tie in the North, which we'll go over in a moment. I actually had quite the lineup situation this week. I had a lot of bye weeks. Colston ended up not playing at the last second. I was really struggling on the free agent market. Funny story. I actually already told Johnny C this, but I think you'll like this, Bob. Sunday morning, I had to make one more add to my lineup to fill in at my flex. I was looking at a bunch of shit. There was nothing out there, which is actually a tip of the hat to all of you guys out there, because we really have such a competitive league. We really do. I had my daughter Trista come over, and we were looking at the list of players together, and I basically asked her to point to a name, and that would be who I would pick. So she first pointed to a gentleman who went by the name of Brian Quick, who I believe is a receiver on the Rams.
He is.
I don't know.
Appalachian State.
Ah, nice. So I clicked on his name to go to add him, and then Tristan's like, no, don't pick him. He's not smiling. So the little picture.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, okay, fine.
Good call.
So I X'd that out, and I'm like, all right, pick another one. So she points to Jerome Simpson. So I opened that up, and if you're listening, take a look at Jerome Simpson's little profile picture. He has one of the biggest smiles in the world.
Well, you know why? He's probably high.
Probably.
He's the weed. We call him the weed.
Nonetheless, that apparently got Trista's approval. So
he looks like a creepy old man who is gonna try to rape someone. He belongs on the rapists.
Well, he was Riverdale Scooper for 1 week. He got me 2 points. Actually, Trista came by every now and then. Hey, how's Jerome doing? We referred to him as Jerome, like a member of the family.
He only got me 1 last week. Silver lining.
Yeah. So anyway, funny little story. Meanwhile, Yellow Peril's 157 points is the most points he's ever scored in the history of the Dynasty. Anywho, goes up to 6-3. Hong Kong Cavaliers defeated the Handy Quacks as we all thought he would, 138-100. Improved on his perfect record here at 9-0, Bub. This actually ties the second longest undefeated streak. The Guard Dogs also went 9-0.
Is it 10 the longest?
10 is the longest, 10-0, and it is from me last year. And
of course.
I don't. Yeah, of course. You brought it up. You asked. I wasn't even gonna say who it was, but you asked. The VIP on Swole beat Soul Glo 126-46, completely destroyed him as we thought he would. And in the last game was the Bubba Gump Shrimp narrowly going past Bruta Deluxe with a score of 113-109. But what happened in this game?
I had it in my back pocket the whole time. So I knew Foles was gonna go off today, so I made sure I picked him up.
Right.
I wasn't worried at all. Even when James Starks scored the touchdown, I knew I had it.
Yeah. I call him bullshit because I think I saw in the GameCast you pretty much announced that you thought you were going to lose.
I also texted Brandon.
And you said congratulations on the win?
I said, I forget what I said, but okay. I said something.
Well, you get the win. You're how many games out of first?
I'm only 2 games out of first place.
2 games out of first place.
And I play a team.
Week 9 or
I play
10-ish.
Coach Heaney, who's tied in first record-wise. So this is,
let's talk about the standings real quick, Bob.
Okay.
Let's go ahead. We're at the point of the season here now. We can really kind of look at things here, figure things out. I don't know if there's any clinchings here that we can announce. I don't think so yet. You're the math whiz, although
no way.
I gotta think Candy Quacks and Brutal have officially been eliminated from playoff. But let's look at the North, and let's just not spend a lot of time here. But Bob, break down the North here for us.
I have 3 teams at 5-4, all good teams. I have no. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say that Coach Heaney is going to win the division.
Wow. Okay. Well, he was in a similar position last year. He didn't win the division last year. He obviously went on to win the title. He is in third out of points between myself and the Rapist. The Rapist being in first with points. I'm in second. VIP's in third. But again, we're all tied with the same record. What about the South, Bob?
If I'm Coach Will, I'm a little pissed off, I suppose. You're 5-4, in 4th place, and you've scored the most points in the league. But then again, it's not like he's losing 140 to 150. He's put up like 80 points 3 weeks in a row. But that's it really can go on. Here's your nickel. I still don't think Phil's very good. I don't think Perril's very good. So those are the 2 teams ahead of him besides Hong Kong. I think Will can maybe not win the division, but at this point, it looks like he's going to win a wild card.
Yeah, well, at this point, if the playoffs started now, he actually would be out. It would be Rapists, Hong Kong, Pig Newtons, and Peril would actually be.
Kind of reminds me of me. A couple years ago, and I put up like the 3rd most points in league history. And I didn't make the playoffs.
Oh, boo-hoo. Suck it up. Suck it
up,
Bob.
Telling you, it reminded me of it.
Actually, that's 2 years. You put up really.
Yeah.
Fuck. I saw in the power rankings, did the Senators get 1 first-place vote?
They did.
Can we divulge from who? Can we say that?
Am I allowed to? I don't want to get beat up.
It should be public record, right?
Brandon's not going to beat me up, so.
Brandon
voted first place, and in his email said, boom!
Yeah, so
just like that.
Is he just doing it to do it type of thing?
Well, it's...
that doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. Hong Kong's 9-0.
I personally don't agree with it. However, 3 weeks in a row with the most points, pretty much everyone else voted him 2nd or 3rd.
Yeah.
So it's not as... I think it's a little bit of a stretch, but, maybe he's trying to make some waves.
Okay. All right. Well, let's continue with the show.
Okay.
Now, let's take a look into the future with next week's matchups.
So, Bub, a little friendly reminder before we talk about Week 10.
Sure.
I'm again a commissioner of the people. I don't want to hide anything. I would like to make sure we're all aware of everything going on. The trade deadline is next Wednesday night at the stroke of midnight. So just keep that in mind. So, Bub, Week 10, we go back to playing some divisional opponents, and this is the first week where we play a team for the 2nd time this season.
Eric, I have a question.
Sure, Bubba.
I'm sorry.
Don't apologize.
Let's say Coach X and Coach Y agree upon a trade at 11:58, and they email you, but you are asleep.
Yep.
What happened? Is that not allowed? Is that because they emailed at 11:58? it's allowed?
Yeah, it's an excellent question, Bubba. And I'm laughing just because I love these quirky.
I'm just trying to be
I love
proactive
it.
as opposed to reactive.
And I love that. I'm that way as well. The answer to your question, Bub, is yes, the trade would be fine. I think all emails have timestamps in accordance with them, so it is when I would receive the email. If I receive the email at 11:59, that means that it got in before the trade deadline. The review process can occur after the trade deadline, but the trade was approved by both coaches before the stroke of midnight.
Okay, new question.
Well, I know where you're going, but go ahead. I'll let you ask.
No, I want to see if you know where I'm going.
I think you're going to ask what happens if the two coaches agree and approve the trade, but they send the email after.
That's actually not what I was going to ask, but I was thinking of that earlier.
I have that answer.
What happens?
The CBS actually also has a timestamp, which you and I can see as commissioners and a commissioner apprentice and possibly gay lovers on the side. We have timestamps in the CBS tool that we can see when the two teams actually approved the trade. So actually, to be honest with you, it's not even the email; it's when the trade is approved on CBS. But what is your other question?
Okay, so let's say I decide to take a quick little trip to San Diego. And I agree upon a trade, and I send you the email. Well, I guess you kind of answered that question, but I'm over there, and it's 9:30 there.
Well, it would be 9, but yeah.
Well,
in your scenario,
say
sure.
I'm saying it's 9:30. It's my fucking scenario. It's 9:30, which means it would be 12:30 here.
Yep.
What happens then?
We go off of Eastern time.
Okay, I just want to establish the rule.
The Dynasty headquarters is located where, Bub?
At Riverdale.
Correct. So Riverdale is where, Bub?
Not on the West Coast.
Correct. It is in the
East Coast. I'm good at this game.
We would be good at, what is that game, the Pyramid? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
We would be really good at that game, especially if it was Dynasty themed.
Ready? I'll try
all
one.
Right.
Ruff, ruff, bark, bark. I'm itchy. I want to go for a walk.
Dog?
Things that dogs say.
Oh, we're going that way. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, that's how the game goes. You're right.
Let's try again.
All right.
Let's try again.
Okay.
I gotta think of one. Okay, let's do this one. Ruff, ruff. I want to go for a walk. I'm itchy.
Things that dogs say?
Yes! Hell yeah! Let's go.
All right, so the Week 10 slate of games, Bub, is actually quite a doozy. We have, I think, 3 incredible games on the slate. Let's start with the North Riverdale Division. The Rapists going into Riverdale to face the Scoopers in a battle for 2 of the 3 first place teams in the division. They're both 5-4. Rapists defeated me when we played earlier this season, 162 to 140. Big game for both of us. Drew Brees is projected to have 31 points scored against me. I think that's ridiculous. We all know that Drew Brees puts at least 40 on me this week. He's playing on Sunday Night Football at home against Dallas.
It's true.
That game is going to be like 80 to 70. I'm predicting Drew Brees to... You know what? I will bet anybody right now $10.
I farted and it doesn't smell good.
40 points or more to Drew Brees. Let me know if you want to take that bet.
I'll take the bet.
You really want to take that bet?
Yeah. I'll take the under at 40.
All right, I'm going to think about it. I know. We'll move, but all right.
Let me know.
I'll let you know, yeah. Handy Quacks against Boston Loggers. Who cares, because Loggers just announced he's a seller, so this game, Loggers will probably win, right? But we don't think it will matter in the grand scheme of things.
Well, it could matter for pizza.
No.
If Handy Quacks wins, he's only 1 game behind me.
That's true. You're right, Bubba.
That's possible.
Thank you for bringing that up.
So, go Loggers.
VIP is facing the Bubblegum Shrimp. Again, obviously...
Sneaky good game this week.
Yes, sure. Sneaky good game. VIP obviously needs this game. They beat you 70 to 61 in a very low-scoring game earlier in the season. Bub, did you know that you're only 59 points away from obtaining the 10,000th point in the Dynasty's career here for the Bubblegum
I wish I wasn't.
Why?
Because this is a crappy season to do
You're 2 games out of first place, you just said. You crazy bastard.
Well, yeah.
Are you going to do anything for this epic event? Are you going to stop you're going to do it, I would think. You're going to get 59 points, right?
I would think so. And whoever gets the 59th point, they're my keeper.
You're going to keep that player.
Yeah. So
and
you guys are playing for a job.
I'll take the $10 bet if you announce that as a definite. And you can't take it back.
That's
okay.
not what I want.
We're just being crazy today, Bubba.
Here's hoping it's Chucky Clay.
Sure. Let's go to the South. The Rockdalian Senators against the Hong Kong Cavaliers. This has been a game we've all circled on our calendars, I'm sure, from weeks ago. Hong Kong at 9-0. He's going for the...
Maybe like 4 weeks ago.
Right. He's going for the 10-0, which would be tie the undefeated streak. He's going for his 10th win in a row. The Senators is on a ridiculous roll right now. This game is just going to be crazy, Bob. What do you think about this game?
I'll tell you right now, it's going to come down to defense.
Really?
Guaranteed.
And who does, what are the defenses? I know Will has Carolina.
Will has Carolina against San Fran, which, I mean, Carolina's playing well, but I don't know. At San Fran also. And Whiffen right now has Cleveland on his bench. I would think he's going to probably pick someone up.
Yeah, he's been plugging and playing his defenses fairly well,
and
I will say.
Hey, his defensive rank right now is 2nd in the league. And Will's is 11th. There's the difference right there.
Wow. Brutal Deluxe against Soul Glo. We talked about that a little bit, and we'll talk about it a little bit more when we talk to Brian. Pretty much a battle, I would think, for the Southern Riverdale Division last place pizza buying.
Yes.
And then another. You like this type of game, Bob. This is one of those.
Yeah, it's gonna be a 65 to 64 slobber knocker.
I was gonna say because it has a lot of there's a
value in the standings.
Right, exactly.
Oh, absolutely.
Yellow Peril 6-3 against Pig Newtons 7-2. Pig Newtons beat Peril 120-71 last time they played. The fantasy gods have obviously been on both of these teams' sides. Something's got to give. What's your prediction? You already kind of gave it actually, but you thought it was going to be
65. No, you know what? It's gonna be 65 to 65, and it's gonna be tied bench points.
Tied bench
points. Super tie.
And then what happens there, Bub? We just implemented this rule.
Dynasty trivia.
Dynasty trivia contest between Jay Young and Phil next week on the show.
Can I make a bold prediction?
Absolutely.
Besides obviously that, because that's not a prediction. That's gonna be true.
What a dog says.
No, that was the Senators Hong Kong game will have less than 200 points combined. I said it.
You've been very wrong with your predictions this year, Bub.
That's okay.
But we'll see if you can get.
You know what? There's nothing more. This pisses me off when we watch the Red Zone channel before, like the pregame Red Zone channel.
Yep.
They make bold predictions,
Sure.
and sometimes they're pretty bold. You know, Terrell Pryor will outscore Peyton Manning and Drew Brees this week and stuff like that. And then there's some, like one guy goes, Phillip Rivers will throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. What is this?
I don't know. Commissioner Scooper speaking.
I'm sorry, who?
Yeah, this is Commissioner Scooper of the Dynasty Podcast. Who am I speaking with, please?
This is John Manning. I just had a missed call from this number a little while ago.
Oh, yes. I believe you were in the midst of taking a shit earlier. I wanted to I wanted to actually spread the word to a local citizen that the Outbreak movie is actually going to be transitioned into a TV show on NBC soon, and I wanted to let you know because it's going to be great, and I just wanted you to know a free advertisement, if you will.
Great.
Yeah, it is great. It is great. It's wonderful. It's great news. So thank you for calling me back. I hope your shit went well. And
thank you.
Yes, you take care of yourself out there.
Sounds great. You too, man.
Okay, thank you. Bob, that was great.
That's nice of him to get back to
That was nice of him to call back. I hope everything went well. I feel better about myself passing the word along.
That was a good job. Pat yourself on the back.
I will. Bob, finally, game of the week. And do you want to do maybe a game of the week in each division or just one game of the week?
No, one game of the week.
What's it going to be?
You know what? I'm not going to disappoint you this week. I'm going Senators Hong Kong.
Now it is time. Fucking right, it's time. So grab your balls and let's go. Coach's interview. Here we fucking go.
And now, on the Jube's Family Restaurant Coach's Guest Hotline, he is one of 3 Dynasty members to not have bitched out. And he did, in fact, attend the D10 League trip in Buffalo. He is the Dynasty 6 champ. He successfully photobombed every picture taken at this past draft. He is coach of the 3-6 Soul Glo. Coach Brian Tavaleri. Coach, thank you for being on the show.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
Excellent. So, Coach, Before we get into the nitty-gritty, I know that you are just a fan of movies in general, so I'm sure you've heard the glorious news which is taking the world by storm, which is obviously the fact that NBC has piloted a TV show which is going to be very similar to the movie Outbreak, which I'm sure we all love. I know you do, Brian. How excited are you about this TV show?
Is it possible to be negative and excited?
I suppose so. I suppose you can be negatively excited.
Then I would say I'm a negative 10.
Damn it all. Okay. Well, let the wrath of Motaba rain upon you then, because that shit's gone airborne, and you tell you what, Brian, if I get the E1101 serum from Betsy the monkey, then I may or may not share it with you, my friend.
Well, if that happens, then I guess I'm just shit out of luck.
I guess so. All right, so along with Doug Martin and possibly even Ray Rice, CJ Spiller has been, I guess, one of the more disappointing keeper players this year. I know he's no longer on your team, but after everyone had such high aspirations for CJ Spiller, how frustrating was that for you?
I don't know. It wasn't really that frustrating, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't know. He didn't perform, and that was basically it. We just got rid of him. So it wasn't really that frustrating for me. He had a one or two games where he performed like a normal running back, and then he, sucked it up for the other one. So no big deal.
Coach, this is the second year where you've made some trades for possibly kind of some role players as opposed to kind of going for it. Bilal Powell this year. Last year you traded for Mendenhall. Do you think you may rethink your strategy next year, or do you think it's been more unlucky?
No, I don't think I'll rethink anything. I think it's just been unlucky. I've had success with other trades too, like Martellus Bennett is, one of the top tight ends in the league, and he's been good for me, except for like 1 week he wasn't that good, but he's been good. And then, I've had bad luck, like I traded for Murray and he got hurt. That's basically it. It doesn't really affect me, like as far as making any type of deals or anything like that.
Those fucking fantasy gods.
Yeah, it happens. What are you gonna do?
What, shit? Sometimes.
Yeah.
So Bub's focusing a little bit on the negatives here. He's been a little villain, little bit of a league villain here this year thus far. Some would say, some wouldn't. But I'm gonna bring up one of the only positives maybe left on your team, and that's of course kicker Steve Hoshka. The son of a bitch has been a bit of a pleasant surprise for you, Brian. And I guess I want to ask you, how proud do you think friend of the Dynasty Podcast, Barbara Hoshka, is of good old Steve? And a secondary question for you is, there's been a couple rumors out there that you and Barb have a little bit of an item. Are you two dating, or is that just something that is kind of more of a friends, if you will?
No, I would have to say it's definitely a friend situation. I haven't really been in touch with Barb in that way. I think she's very proud of her son, though. He's a very good kicker right now. And not to toot my own horn, but I can draft kickers and QBs like nobody's business. Just apparently can't draft anything else. If it was just a kicker QB league, I think I would have won like years in a row.
Obviously. Coach, with you, missing the hangout, what did you miss most, if anything, about not being at the league hangout?
Nothing. I don't know. I don't know. I had to up here, so it was hard for me not to be there, or hard for me to be there. So I appreciate Commissioner Scoops being so understanding. But I don't know. I mean, what did everybody else miss about not going to the league trip? Like nothing. So I think I don't know. Really nothing.
Touche.
Excellent. So, Brian, as you probably know, each week I post to Twitter who the coach's interview is going to be. I let the world ask any question they'd like upon that coach, which is obviously you this week. And we actually got two coaches submit questions. Actually, two coaches who don't normally participate in this particular feature. So I appreciate these two coaches stepping up and doing this. I'll ask them.
Oh, I was gonna say, who'd you get, Johnny C, and then Johnny C pretending to be like Pippin or somebody?
Yeah, no, actually, Johnny C has not participated this week, but I hear you. No, we actually got Coach Will, a division foe of yours, Mr.
Awesome.
William Q. DeYoung of those pesky Rockdalian Senators, and he actually asks, since your D6 championship, you've gone 9-6, 7-8, 7-8, and now 3-6, and in the midst of a franchise-long 4-game losing streak. Are you concerned at all that you've fallen into a bit of a pattern of mediocrity, and what do you see as your way out?
I think it's hilarious that Will would ask a question about mediocrity. That's one of the funniest things I've ever heard. I'm not even going to respond to the rest of it. That's hilarious. Tell him the joke.
Okay, all right, next question is from Coach Jay Young. Brian, if you were forced to either watch the Matrix trilogy or Star Wars 1, 2, and 3 for the rest of eternity, what do you choose and why?
Oh, that's a great question, and that's a simple one, though. It's definitely the Matrix trilogy, because at least the first Matrix was a good movie, and it was, it was decent. All the first Star Trek or Star Wars were fucking terrible. They were god-awful. And so definitely, hands down, Matrix. And then I'd love to see that talking baby at the end of the Matrix again, too. That was a great way to end a franchise.
All right, now, Coach, you're playing Coach Brandon this week, coming off a tough loss to yours truly. He's sitting at 1-8, but he had a little message for you. My message to Brian is short and sweet. Enjoy buying the pizza next year, because I'm coming for you. What do you think about that?
I don't really know what to say to Brandon. I mean, I don't know. I guess that's what he's hanging his hat on, is that he won't have to buy the pizza. He's still going to be a loser. Either way, I mean, essentially, like, any of us, if you don't get into the playoffs, you're a loser. Whether you're buying the pizza or not is a difference of numbers. So, okay, then I'll buy the pizza. That's part of the league. I know it's good.
Excellent. Well, Brian, as I think you're aware, we actually have, following you here, we have Bree Olson, one of the more famous former porn stars ever. I think you're familiar with her work, correct? Is that correct?
Oh, I'm very familiar with Bree Olson's work.
Excellent.
I would consider myself in on the ground floor when it comes to Bree Olson. I think I was talking about Bree Olson before anybody. I'll put it out there. I'll guarantee I was talking about Bree Olson before anybody in the Dynasty was.
Excellent. Well, I'm very much looking forward to speaking with her. I'm sure Bub actually has had an erection here now for about 45 minutes, and it has not moved. It was twitching a little bit earlier, but we're very much.
How is that different from any other week?
That's a good point. That is a very fair.
I have a penile problem.
Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and we want to thank you, of course, Brian, for being here on the show. Obviously, not the greatest seasons for you here, but I wish you the best of luck the rest of the way. Good luck against Brutal Deluxe here, and we will be in touch with you soon. Thanks again for being on the show.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, see ya.
Yep.
All right, well, that was Coach Brian Tavaleri, Bub of Soul Glo, and always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to speak with. So, Bub, let's do this. I mean,
Sex?
Well, I wish with Bree Olson. Yeah.
Oh.
Speaking of that,
yeah.
There's a good little segue. I have a question for you.
Oh yeah, hit me with some knowledge.
But would you rather have a free meal at Jupe's Family Restaurant, or have one night of anything goes sex with Bree Olson? I know it's hard.
You're not making this erection thing any easier. The problem with having a night of sex with Bree Olson is it would take me maybe 2.5 seconds. And then after that, I'm done.
Then you just gotta make awkward conversation.
Yeah. So I think your question should be, would you rather have a free meal from Jubes or just bust in 2 seconds?
Or you could have sex with Bree Olson at Jubes while eating Jubes.
I don't know if they allow that there.
I don't know.
What's my meal from Jubes? What's my free meal from Jubes?
I have some connections at Jubes. They're our sponsor, you know.
Yeah, I know, but what's my free meal?
Whatever you want it to be. They have so many good things to eat at Jubes. So many, Bubba. So many good things. Hey, Bubba, did you know that Bree Olson is starring in The Human Centipede 3?
Yeah, okay, I was gonna pick A Night with Bree, but now that she's starring in The Human Centipede 3, I pick free meal from Jubes.
I wonder if Bree's head is gonna be sewed to somebody's ass in this movie. Maybe we can ask her. You know what? Let's do it. Let's get there on the line.
Let's do it.
All right.
Now, the Dynasty Podcast brings you an interactive and likely ridiculous segment which borderlines on actual legit media. Buckle up your fucking seatbelts for the Dynasty Podcast interactive segment.
And now I am excited to say that on the Jubes Family Restaurant Interactive Hotline, we have former adult film superstar Bree Olson, and Bree is also in the upcoming thriller movie, The Human Centipede 3, which is coming out this spring. Bree, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So before we get into some of the questions regarding your previous career, I was hoping that maybe you could just talk to us a little bit about The Human Centipede 3.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so it was so much fun to make. So I get a call. I was at the Super Bowl this February, and they contact me. They're like, "Can you come in for an interview?" And I never watch horror movies, so I had happened to see Human Centipede 1 and 2. And I'm like, I'm at the Super Bowl, but luckily it had just ended. But I was going to stay, the after parties and all that.
Sure.
And they're like, well, it's either this day or nothing. I told my friends, I'm like, I got to go. I got to go back to LA. They're like, you're crazy to go back just for an audition. You have no idea how many people they're auditioning. I'm like, I don't care. I have to get this part. And so I go in, and they're like, so have you seen our movies? I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh, you seen the second one? Like, all surprised. I'm like, yeah, I did. And they're like, why? I thought that was great. I'm like, the first one was so crazy, I had to see the second. But it's one of those movies where people keep on asking me, they're like, because either people are horror film people or they're not.
Right.
And so a lot of people haven't seen The Human Centipede, so they're like, would I be able to watch 3 without having to watch 1 and 2? I'm like, definitely. All 3 are very different from each other. So this one was really cool. We had a huge cast. We have Eric Roberts in it, Robert Lusardo. That big dude from Friday.
Jeez, his name is escaping me as well. I know who you're talking about. But
Tiny, I forget what his, people call him Tiny, though. I forget his name. Debo or whatever. Yeah, so he's in it. Tons of big people. It was a lot of fun.
Excellent. I got to admit, I saw the first one. I didn't see the second one, but when I heard now that you're in the third one, I'm going to see the second one, and then obviously I'll be seeing the third one when it comes out as well. So I know that you retired from the adult film business, but that's obviously what you're best known for. And based off some of our fans' reactions when they kind of heard you're going to be on the show, I think you're probably one of the most popular former porn stars. What originally got you interested into the adult movie business, Bree?
I'm a pervert. I'm such a pervert. So people, when they meet me now and they see, how sensual and sexual, because I love to talk about sex, I always have, and they're like, they must think, oh, porn did this to her. And it's like, no, I was already a pervert. That's why I did porn in the first place. But, I was just perverted. I was like, I had a girlfriend up until the point that I did it. We were dating for 4 years, or else I would have done it as soon as I turned 18. We split up when I was 19, so then that's when I, Googled and looked into it. Mm-hmm. I wasn't interested in stripping or anything. I just wanted to go straight into the movies. I didn't want to, make a career out of it. I just wanted to try it because, I was young. I'm horny. I wanted to try things. So I went and looked it up to do it. And then I was like, whoa, there's a lot of money in this.
Right.
And then, whoa, before you know it, I'm successful because, it's, amazing to producers, I guess, when a girl actually shows up and she's not on drugs and, shows up every day and it's awesome. So I'm like, yeah, this is easy to be successful, and they don't expect too much.
Right.
So, yeah, it was cool. It was fun.
Bree, I'm sure a successful, porn scene probably takes a lot of, different things. Give me maybe one or two things that really make for a great scene.
It really, you just have to love it. You just have to love what you're doing. There's a lot of girls that don't really have a choice, I feel, and I feel bad for girls like that get into the industry. It's like, oh, they had, whatever's happened in their life that puts them in a bad financial situation and they feel like they have nowhere else to turn. But for someone that is just, they have all the options in the world to them and they just choose to do it just because they want to do it and they're perverted like me, then it's amazing. And that's all you really need. You just need to have an awesome sexual mindset, and that makes for a great scene. That's all you need to do. There's nothing really, no special talent.
Excellent.
People have to watch it and know that you like it.
Right.
That's all.
Right. You can't fake most of that. So when you first started in the adult film industry, did you really ever think that you'd make it this far as you have?
No, of course not. Nobody thinks, oh, I'm going to have sex on camera, and then before you know it, I'm going to, be nestled up in West Hollywood working on all these, other things and moved on to mainstream and so forth. So I never even would have considered that it was going to be a stepping stone into anything or anything like that. It just happened. I don't know. It's cool, though.
Now,
I like it. I like this 2013 business. Everyone's all liberal. California is all laid back. Yeah, whatever, you did that, that's cool.
Bree, what's the one thing that maybe you miss the most about the adult film business, and give me a scale of 1 to 10. What are the chances, I guess, of you ever making a return?
The chances are 0. Okay,
really?
I'm such a pervert. I love my personal sexual life, but I'm done doing that because I need people to take me seriously, and I can't be, continue, getting boned on film and then going for an audition. It looks so much better. Like, no matter how liberal I want to give these people credit for out here, it still looks really good when I can walk in and say, look, I haven't done porn in over 2 years. I've been taking this and this and this acting class, etc. Me seriously. It looks a lot better that way.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's true. I just want to. I think you probably just broke the hearts of all of our listeners, but I get it. I understand.
So speaking of our listeners, as I mentioned before, when they found out that you're going to be on the show, we got absolutely slammed with tweets and questions and whatnot from some of our listeners. I'm hoping maybe we could ask you a couple of them. And is that okay, Bree?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, perfect. So. At @zpalucha_handyquacks, he asks, Bree, how old were you when you first lost your virginity?
Oh my gosh, too young. I can't even answer that because it's perverted. But if you Google it, you can find it.
Come on.
I don't even.
Come on.
I don't know that age. No, I don't even. It's not even cool. It's not even cute to talk about.
Okay.
It's not cool.
All right.
I look back on it at the time, it seems cool. But imagining someone that age doing it now, I would stab someone.
Right.
But I grew up in cornfields. There was nothing else to do.
Yeah, fair enough. That's as good as reason as any, I guess. At Benny_Green from Riverdale asks, is there anything that you've never done sexually that you would want to do?
I can't even go there, man.
Oh, feel free to. We're uncensored. We are completely free to speak our minds.
I know, but I can just see someone I just saw me auditioning for a part, and they're like, oh wow, so she's taking acting serious, but she really wants to get cream pied by 100 guys. Okay. Yeah, so there's your answer. All right, boom, next.
All right. That's fine. At Willie the Senator Young from Rockdale asks, I haven't necessarily been with a woman yet. What is the best way to make a woman orgasm?
I haven't necessarily. What does that entail? I wonder.
I don't think he actually has. I think it's kind of his way of saying that without actually saying it.
That's yes.
What's the best way to make a woman climax?
Yes.
That was the question?
Yes.
If you're not experienced yet, then I think that the best way is to use a toy on a girl while she vibrates. Because, we already know what we're doing with the vibrator, so then if we have a guy using a toy on us too, it's just crazy intense. And then, if we climax from that, and then you can get on top and do your thing, and then we don't care because we're already done. So it's like, yeah, go ahead, do whatever you want now.
Awesome. I hope Will paid attention to that. And then lastly, at Philly Mac Daddy T from Linwood, he asks, this is a bit of a silly question, Bree, but I'm in a pretty competitive fantasy football league. Instead of a trophy and money, would it be possible for this year's champion to win a night with you?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, wow.
Bit of a problem.
That's intense. I could definitely hook someone up with a membership to my website or something.
all right.
BreeOlson.com. Check it out.
I like that.
All right, we'll talk offline about that. That would be great. So actually, speaking of football, Bree, I know that you, I think you grew up in Indiana in the cornfields, as you said earlier. Are you an Indianapolis Colts fan at all, into the NFL, or are you not really into sports?
I do. I love the Colts. I do not. I'm gonna just admit it blatantly right now because I know y'all are a football channel.
Yep.
I do not like. I can't tell you anything about it other than I love the Colts, and I'll be out there rooting like I know what I'm doing, but I really don't. I have no idea what's going on.
At least you admit it.
But I'm dedicated though. I had season passes when I lived in Indiana. I still go whenever I'm back in Indiana. So yeah, I go to every single Super Bowl. I love it. I love football. I love the whole thing, everything about it.
Excellent. Great. Well, her name is Bree Olson. She's an amazing woman, and you can catch her this upcoming spring in the Human Centipede 3. You can follow her on Twitter, at Bree Olson. Bree, thank you so much for being on the Dynasty Podcast.
Thank you, guys. You guys are awesome.
That was this week's Dynasty Podcast interactive segment.
Eric, I no longer have an erection.
Yeah.
Because I came in my pants.
I can't speak. I'm having trouble formulating words. That was amazing. She is the most sexual creature in this whole wide world. Bub,
Can we pause for a sec?
Really?
I just want to go to the bathroom real quick.
Bub, we need to finish the show, but I want to say this. Question for you. Was she the most sexiest person we've ever had as a guest on this show? And I know we've had a lot. We talked about Barbara Hoschka earlier.
I would say second.
Ren Geyer?
No. We of course had Lisa Costanza.
Jackie.
Lisa Costanza.
Well, thank you. Having trouble speaking. Okay. Well, we're going to finish this show up here. We're going to finish ourselves off in the bathroom in just a moment.
Not each other, though.
We could.
No.
This is going to wrap up episode number 11 of the Dynasty Podcast, my friends. I'd like to thank the local citizen who we spread the word to about Outbreak. His name was John Manine, and he was wonderful. I hope he was no longer constipated. It took him quite a long time. Thank you to Coach Brian Tavaleri, of course, and thanks to the lovely and wonderful and sexual, and I'm going to do things to her online or later tonight, Bree Olson. Wow. I'm going to follow up with her. I really am. I hope that we can get a free membership to her website.
I would enjoy that. I know Brian would.
Brian? Why Brian? Oh, because he's a fan.
Well,
we all would.
Yeah.
We all would.
Yeah.
Matt, not only would you get the Dynasty Championship and the glory that comes along with it, you could also get a free membership to BreeOlson.com. Listeners, you have my word. I am absolutely going to follow up with Bree Olson on that opportunity, and I will report back as soon as I hear anything. I'd like to thank, of course, all of our listeners. And speaking of our listeners, Bub, guess what we're going to do next week?
We are going to... I want to go for a walk. Bark, bark, bark.
What is a dog?
No.
Oh, shit.
Things a dog
Things
says.
a dog says.
I don't know. What are we going to do next week?
We're going to do our second edition of the Call the Dynasty podcast.
Excellent.
Segment. It went wonderful last week. For those of you that did not participate in the first one, now you know how it works. We really would love for you, especially if you didn't participate last week, to participate. Obviously, if you participated already, then we would love for you to continue to do so. We would love so many questions, we have so many answers. Bub, let our listeners know what they need to do.
All you need to do is simply let one of us know, Eric or I, that you would like to call next Tuesday. At what time roughly would it be, Commissioner Scooper?
It's probably going to be somewhere around the range of 8:30ish, but we will let you know as we get closer.
Yeah. So let us know if you want to, and then we'll call you. And if you called last time, you know how it works. You ask your question, and then we go ahead, we hang up on your ass, and then we answer it. But just please remember to always include a comment when rejecting a trade offer. We don't want any mishaps again. Not only is it common courtesy, but it's also a rule, fuckers.
Indeed it is. This is Commissioner Scooper.
And this is Commissioner Apprentice. Ooh, I got my own title. Bub Palucha.
We're going to be back next week for episode number 12, when we'll welcome Coach Zach Palucha of the very disappointing Handy Quacks and partake in, again, yet another Call the Dynasty Podcast team segment. See you next week. Over and out. Bub, give me that tissue there.
No!
I need a tissue.
This is Scotty Sterling, Director of Scouting for the Sacramento Kings, and today's Dynasty Podcast was brought to you by Jude's Family Restaurants.